All right, so today we're going to be taking a deep dive into the world of the subconscious mind.
Okay.
You sent over some really fascinating material for this one, including excerpts from Joseph Murphy's The Power of Your Subconscious Mind.
That's a good one.
I'm really excited to dig into this with you.
Yeah, me too.
And kind of explore, how much influence our subconscious mind really has on our lives. And not just in like the obvious ways,
Mm.
when we think about like success or creativity, but
Oh, yeah.
even down to things like physical health and sleep.
Yeah, it's really fascinating how much is going on under the surface.
Right.
We think we're in control, but
Right.
studies show that over 90% of our mental activity is actually happening subconsciously
Yeah.
all the time.
So it's like we have this hidden partner in our heads, basically.
More than a partner. I would say like the foundation of your conscious mind.
Okay.
And it's not just passively sitting there either.
Huh.
It's actively shaping your reality in every single moment.
Wow.
So like building and maintaining your physical body,
Hmm.
regulating vital functions,
Mm.
even protecting you from harm.
That makes you think differently about like those stories you hear about people in emergencies who
Yeah.
suddenly have these abilities they didn't know they had.
Right.
Like I was reading about
Mm-hmm.
accounts from the 1906 San Francisco earthquake.
Okay, yeah.
And there were these stories of people, even people with like physical limitations, who suddenly found the strength to like rescue others or even run when they couldn't walk before.
Yeah, that's a perfect example of what we call the life word tendency of the subconscious kicking in.
So it's like this inherent drive
Yeah.
to not just survive, but like
To protect and nurture.
protect others
Yeah.
and even love.
Exactly.
Right.
It's pushing us towards growth, towards connection, and even love. It's a
Yeah.
force that wants us to reach our full potential.
That's pretty powerful.
Yeah, it is.
So, I mean, if this part of us is so powerful, like, how do we tap into it? How do we make it work for us instead of just having it happen?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right.
I think the key lies in the relationship between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind.
Okay.
So it's like you're planting a seed.
Okay.
The conscious mind provides the idea, the desire,
Right.
but for it to actually blossom, the subconscious has to accept it as true. And that's where belief comes in.
Okay, so it's not just positive thinking, but it's like really
It's
believing
conviction.
in the possibility.
Exactly.
Okay.
The subconscious mind, it doesn't respond to force or willpower,
Okay.
but it thrives on that conviction. We see this in a lot of creative people, like Robert Louis Stevenson or Mark Twain.
Yeah.
They often talked about tapping into their subconscious for inspiration.
Right.
They attributed a lot of their success to that connection.
Well, I've always been really interested in Stevenson's process.
Yeah.
Wasn't he the one who would actually like request stories from his subconscious before falling asleep?
And he said that he would get these ideas like a cereal, just kind of effortlessly throughout the night.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, and Mark Twain, he often said that he never worked a day in his life.
Right.
He said his humor in writing was just this effortless flow from his subconscious.
So it's about aligning those things.
It is.
Your conscious desires with the power of your subconscious.
Exactly.
Okay, so how does this all translate physically?
Right.
Like, what's the actual connection between our minds and our bodies?
Well, the bridge is your nervous system.
Okay.
So think of it as like the communication network between your thoughts and your subconscious processes.
Okay.
The cerebrospinal system manages your conscious actions,
Right.
while the sympathetic nervous system is like the organ of the subconscious.
Wow. So our thoughts aren't just like abstract things floating around.
No, they're not.
They actually trigger physical reactions.
Absolutely. Every single thought creates vibrations in your nervous system.
Wow.
And that directly influences your subconscious.
So that's why things like stress management are so important.
It's huge.
Right.
When your nervous system is in that fight or flight mode all the time,
Yeah.
it's harder for your subconscious to manifest positive outcomes.
It's like those two engines,
Right.
When they're working together, great things can happen. But
Love
if they're out of alignment,
Yeah.
chaos.
You got it.
So it sounds like, if we're essentially programming our subconscious with our thoughts,
We are.
it's a lot of responsibility.
It is a big responsibility.
Yeah.
We see that, when fear or limiting beliefs or negative thoughts get into the subconscious,
Right.
they manifest as obstacles in our lives.
So how do we get those engines working in harmony then?
Right. Well, cultivating a harmonious mind, it's a process.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing when those negative thought patterns are popping up and consciously choosing to replace them with positive and constructive ones.
So that takes a lot of self-awareness
It does.
and effort,
Yeah.
especially when we're so used to, our habitual ways of thinking.
Absolutely.
Are there any like practical techniques or examples of how that works?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Take Frederick Elias Andrews, for example.
Okay.
He suffered from Pott's disease, which is a really debilitating condition that affects the spine.
Oh, wow.
And he actually managed to overcome it
Okay.
by consciously using affirmations.
So he was just affirming certain things.
He would repeat statements like, I am whole, perfect, strong.
Wow. And that actually helped him recover?
Yes. His belief, working with his subconscious mind,
Okay.
facilitated his healing.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it really shows the power of aligning your conscious and subconscious.
Okay.
It's not about denying reality, but choosing the thoughts and beliefs that empower you.
Okay, so what about those times when we really, really want something and we put in all this effort, but it feels like the more we push, the further away it gets?
Yes. That's what we call the law of reversed effort.
Okay, tell me more about that.
Yeah, it was one of the paradoxes of the subconscious mind.
Okay.
Where trying too hard can actually work against you.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, so basically when your desire for something clashes with your imagination.
Okay.
Imagination wins. So that forceful willpower, especially when it's fueled by like anxiety or desperation, it creates this internal resistance that makes it harder for your subconscious to manifest what you want.
So can you give me like an example to illustrate that?
Sure. Imagine a student taking an important exam.
Okay.
They studied really hard, but the pressure gets to them and their mind goes blank.
Oh, yeah.
And they're trying so hard to remember the information,
Right.
but it's like hitting a wall.
Uh-huh.
And then after the exam, they relax and suddenly all the answers come flooding back.
Oh, yeah. We've all been there.
Right. That's the law of reversed effort. The intense desire to remember created that mental block. But when they relaxed and surrendered, the subconscious could access the information freely.
So it's like we have to trust our subconscious to do its work.
That's a big part of it.
Without micromanaging it.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's about finding that balance
Right.
between setting clear intentions and surrendering to the process.
Okay.
Sometimes letting go is the most powerful thing you can do.
That's interesting.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. This idea of letting go, really comes into play when we talk about like money and wealth. The sources you sent over really emphasize the power of our subconscious beliefs around money.
Yeah.
It's not just about working hard or investing wisely.
Right.
It's about our deeper mindset around abundance.
I've always been fascinated by that concept.
Yeah.
Like the poverty mindset versus wealth consciousness.
Exactly.
It's almost like those beliefs become self-fulfilling prophecies.
They do.
Attracting either lack or abundance into our lives.
It goes back to, those thoughts creating vibrations in our nervous system.
Right.
When we're constantly worrying about money, or feeling like we'll never have enough, we're actually reinforcing a neural pathway of scarcity.
It's like we're programming our subconscious.
You got it.
To expect lack.
Exactly.
So how do we reprogram that then?
Right. Well, it's not about denying any current financial realities.
Okay.
It's about consciously choosing to focus on abundance.
Okay.
Affirmations are a great tool for this, but you got to be careful how you word them.
Okay.
So instead of just saying, I am wealthy,
right,
which might feel kind of jarring if your current situation doesn't reflect that.
Yeah.
Try phrases like, by day and by night, I am being prospered in all my interests.
I like that.
Yeah.
It feels more like we're surrendering to the process.
Exactly. You're creating a sense of openness and receptivity to abundance.
Okay.
Allowing it to flow into your life from unexpected places.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Something else that stood out to me in the materials was this idea of our inherent right to be rich.
Yes.
And not just financially, but, rich in experiences, relationships, well-being.
Absolutely.
It's like embracing a fullness of life.
It is.
Instead of always feeling like something's missing.
It's about recognizing our natural state of abundance. When we hold on to those negative views about money.
Yeah.
Or see it as something inherently evil.
Right.
We actually block its flow.
Interesting.
And limit our capacity to experience true abundance.
So it's not about greed or materialism.
No, not at all.
It's about seeing money as a tool.
Right. It's a form of energy that can be used for good.
A tool for good.
Exactly. When we shift our perspective to see it as a symbol of exchange, of economic health, it becomes something that can be used wisely, constructively, generously.
There's a story in The Power of Your Subconscious Mind
Yeah.
that really illustrates this shift in mindset.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
It's about this young pharmacist who had this dream of owning his own store. He had no money at the time.
Wow.
But he just held on to that vision, with unwavering belief.
Powerful.
He would visualize himself in the store every day.
Wow.
Experiencing that joy of serving his community.
That's great.
And eventually, through a series of events,
Yeah.
he was able to achieve his dream.
That's a great example.
It really shows the power of our thoughts to shape our reality.
It really does.
But what about success beyond just wealth?
Right.
How does our subconscious help us achieve, our goals and our dreams?
Well, the material you sent lays out a really interesting 3-step formula for success.
Okay, I'm all ears.
It's not just about hard work or talent.
Right.
It's about aligning your passions with a sense of purpose and service to others.
I like that. So tell me, what are the 3 steps?
Okay, so first you got to figure out what really excites you.
Okay.
What you love to do.
Find your passion.
Exactly that thing that makes you feel truly alive.
Right, because if you're passionate about it, it doesn't feel like work.
Exactly. It becomes an expression of who you are.
So step 1, find your passion. What's step 2?
Step 2 is specialize.
Okay.
Become an expert. Hone your skills. Immerse yourself in that field.
So don't just dabble.
Right.
Become a master.
Exactly. And then the third and arguably most important step is to make sure that your work benefits humanity in some way.
So align your passion with a purpose?
Yes. Find a way to contribute to the greater good.
That's powerful.
It is, and we see examples of this all the time. Think about that young boy who dreamt of becoming a doctor.
Yeah.
And devoted his life to healing others. Or the actor who visualized their name in lights and used their platform to advocate for important causes.
Okay.
Or even the pharmacist who built his dream store and became a pillar of his community.
They all found success by combining passion with service. One of the things that really blew my mind when I was going through these sources was the fact that even brilliant scientists rely on their subconscious for breakthroughs.
It's true.
It's like this incredible resource we all have.
We do.
Not just creative types.
It's fascinating how many scientists have received these groundbreaking insights through dreams or intuition or these sudden flashes of inspiration.
It's like those eureka moments.
Exactly. When the conscious mind steps aside and the subconscious takes over.
Well, one of the most famous examples has got to be Auguste Kekulé.
Oh, yeah, the benzene ring.
Right, the chemist who discovered the structure of the benzene ring.
Yeah, he dreamt of a snake biting its own tail.
That's right.
Which led to his breakthrough.
It's wild.
It is wild.
And it's not just limited to sleep, though, right?
No, it's not.
Think about Nikola Tesla.
Oh, yeah, brilliant inventor.
Right, he would actually build inventions in his mind first.
He would.
And they would always work perfectly.
Amazing.
When he built them in real life.
It's like he was using his imagination as a laboratory.
Yeah.
Testing and refining his ideas before making them physical.
Then there's Dr. Frederick Banting, whose discovery of insulin as a treatment for diabetes.
Right, a life-saving discovery.
It came to him in a dream.
Wow.
It's amazing.
The power of the subconscious to provide solutions and insights.
Right. And speaking of unlocking things while we sleep.
Yes.
I love how the sources emphasize the importance of sleep.
It's vital.
Not just for our physical rest, but for connecting with our subconscious.
Sleep is a time for our subconscious to process information, to heal, to guide us.
It's like downloading wisdom while we slumber.
I love that.
So it's not just about getting enough sleep, but about recognizing the quality of that sleep.
Absolutely.
And its connection to our subconscious mind.
It provides this unique opportunity to tap into our intuition and receive guidance.
Yeah, there were those stories about people getting insights and premonitions through their dreams.
Right.
Like that woman who dreamt she shouldn't accept a job offer and the company went bankrupt shortly after.
Wow.
Or the author who dreamt about the attack on Pearl Harbor.
Years before it happened.
Yeah, 3 years before it happened.
Incredible.
It's amazing to think that our dreams can be like this internal compass.
Yeah, they can.
Helping us navigate life.
It's not just about predicting specific events, though.
Okay.
It's about recognizing the symbolic language of dreams and using that to make informed decisions.
Okay.
Our subconscious often picks up on things our conscious mind misses.
There's that story about the steel worker.
Yeah, what about him?
Who dreamt of a solution to a problem at his factory.
Oh, yeah.
And his idea led to a $15,000 invention.
A very profitable nap.
Right.
It really shows the problem-solving capacity of our subconscious.
Even when we're not consciously working on something.
Exactly.
It makes you wonder what other solutions we might be missing out on.
It really does.
Just because we haven't learned to tap into that power.
Lots of possibilities.
So after this deep dive into the subconscious, what's the big takeaway?
Well, I think the biggest thing is just realizing how powerful your subconscious mind really is.
Yeah.
It's not some mystical force out there. It's something you can work with.
Right.
To create positive change in your life.
It's like we all have this amazing tool inside us.
Yeah, we do.
But we don't really know how to use it.
And that's why it's so important to explore these concepts.
Yeah.
You know, we're not just talking about theory here.
Right.
We're giving you practical ways to understand and access this power.
And it seems like a lot of it comes down to aligning our conscious and subconscious minds.
Absolutely.
You know, it's not about ignoring the negative stuff.
No.
But about choosing a more empowering perspective.
When your conscious goals and beliefs are in harmony with your subconscious desires,
yeah,
that's when the magic happens.
And this idea of surrender keeps coming up.
It does.
Letting go of that forceful willpower.
Trusting the wisdom within them.
Even if we don't always understand how it works.
Trust is key. You know,
right.
When you try to force things, it often creates resistance.
Yeah.
But when you relax and surrender to the process, that's when you open yourself up to new possibilities.
This has been an amazing deep dive.
It has.
I mean, we've covered so much, from the science of the nervous system to all these inspiring stories.
It's incredible.
Of healing and breakthroughs, and
yeah.
I feel like we've just scratched the surface.
There's always more to discover.
But I'm already buzzing with new ideas.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing journey.
So we hope this deep dive has given our listeners some tools and inspiration.
Absolutely.
To start their own journey.
To unlock that potential.
There's a whole world of abundance and success and fulfillment out there.
Waiting to be discovered.
So remember, your thoughts have power.
They do.
Choose them wisely.
Cultivate that harmonious mind.
And trust in the incredible potential within you.
That's the key.
Thank you for joining us on this exploration of the subconscious mind.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring those wonders within.